And folks, welcome back to CPAC 2014. We are here with Joe. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
And what brings you to CPAC this year?
So basically, I've been involved in my Republican Party locally for a while now, and haven't done anything on a large scale yet. And I figured in college is the time to go to these conventions and start really laying a framework for what I want to do politically in the future. So.
And your first time at CPAC?
This is my first time here.
And so what do you think of it?
I think it's awesome. So many like-minded people, everyone's smiling, everyone's having a great time.
Seeing conservatives in action.
Exactly.
Have you gone to like another political conference, like a libertarian or
I've not. This is my first and only one so far.
Which college do you go to?
I go to Indiana University in Bloomington.
And are you a member of the college Republicans here?
I'm registered, but I have class during the meeting time, so I unfortunately can't make meetings.
But you haven't done much there, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So you came here to CPAC by yourself? Then?
Yes, that's correct.
Paid the expense and the...
Yep, instead of going on spring break with all my friends, decided to come here.
Who's your favorite speaker so far?
Chris Christie's been my favorite so far.
Well, you know I'm from New Jersey, and he's our governor.
Yeah.
And he's a great speaker. As far as conservatism, well, got a little issues here and there.
Yeah.
But I guess that's how it's like with all the politicians. You know, you got to give and take a little bit. So what do you think of what's going on with the Ukraine? So it's a little bit politics.
I feel like there's new information coming out every day. So it's like you think one thing and then something else comes out. I really don't think we should get as involved as we are. It's a sticky situation. I don't think it's our job to make a decision.
It is. Well, some people feel that, we have enough problems here to straighten up first before you send people over there to help.
Yeah.
And that's a circumstance. And let me ask you this. Obamacare, okay? We get a lot of pushback from everybody, and we say that this Obamacare is over the top. What are your thoughts on this?
Something that I think is interesting about Obamacare is, I've heard people that are Democrats say how it's negatively affecting them, and I've never heard anyone say anything positive that's affecting them positively. They say, oh, it's helping this group of people, it's helping these people, but it's never about themselves. And it's interesting how just in daily conversation, it comes up more, I'd say more than any political issue.
Do the students see how it can hurt them in employment?
Oh, yeah.
And are they educated enough to totally understand what Obamacare is about?
No. In my opinion, no.
So you said no quickly, and I see that too. But what is wrong that they're not getting the information?
I think a lot of students, especially like upperclassmen, so juniors, seniors, just want to get a job. I don't think they're thinking about much else than that. With the job market the way it is, it's kind of narrowing the focus to just getting a job and not thinking about all the other factors.
So let's look at the situation. Okay, Obamacare is a huge cost to employers.
Yeah.
Okay, and before Obamacare, employers had a much greater choice for a market for insurance to give to their employees, but not with Obamacare. And everybody has to have insurance. And with all the taxes imposed upon employers, the employer has to cover the cost. They get that cost from their bottom line. So to adjust for the cost, they may not be able to hire as many workers, or the ones they have will have to go to part-time.
Yeah.
So my question to the students would be do they see this? Why the job market isn't picking up like it should? And do they see the impact of Obamacare on it?
I don't think
see
they
that
do.
See that angle of it.
I think they should. I don't think they do. To me, it makes sense. It clicks that employers have to start cutting costs to make up for Obamacare. And I think for most students, they just don't realize that. They just think it's just a tough job market, and they don't really think why. They don't go the next step as to why Obamacare is causing as many problems for us as it is.
So at the university level, they're not telling this to the students. They're not.
It depends on so I've been surprised a lot of professors have been bringing it up because their pay is getting affected and their benefits are getting affected. So they'll bring it up to some will bring it up to students. Some kind of reserve themselves, but some will actually tell the class what's going on, how it's affecting them personally as an example of what's happening to majority of Americans.
Right. So now, all this information is being dispersed and the students aren't getting it. So when they go to the polls the next election, they're liable to vote for somebody who does the same thing, pushes the same type of issues, the Obamacare and whatnot. Right?
Unfortunately.
Let me ask you this. Do you have a lot of liberal friends, student friends?
I'm in the Greek system, and the Greek system tends to lean more right. But my friends not in the Greek system are almost all liberal.
They are?
Yeah.
And so this probably comes from their family too, because if you're born in a liberal family, then you're more apt to be liberal.
Yeah. Or public schools. I feel like a lot of times you're
right.
more likely to grow up liberal or just being idealistic.
Have you encountered any problems with your professor being your conservative, and some of them may not be?
Nothing very specific, but I could tell in class discussions where I'll obviously bring up a more conservative point, and the professor will either sometimes just not take the point, or you'll get class members that start speaking the other side, and I mean the professor will pick their hands before someone else, someone like me.
Right.
Whether I talk too much or because it favors whatever they're trying to get at.
So you've noticed it, a little bit of bias.
Yeah.
Okay. But it hasn't been to the point where, let's say, you answered a question on an exam and the professor.
Yeah, it hasn't been. I don't think it's pushed to
that extent.
Yeah.
Or you haven't seen it so far.
Yeah, could have happened. I just missed it, but I mean, I haven't seen anything too extreme.
Do you plan on becoming more active as a Republican?
I do.
And so now, in what way? Just joining the club, or?
Right now, I work a lot with the precinct committeemen in my area, just doing the grassroots, knocking on doors, phone calls. Working on campaigns because I'm from Illinois, and right now we need a Republican governor. And so I've been working on campaigns for that, and just any campaign that we have a Democrat currently sitting in, I'm helping out with campaigns on the other side.
So do you plan on running for office?
I've considered it. I'm only 21 years old.
Doesn't matter. You're eligible.
Yeah.
We've had some in New Jersey your age who've come out and have run for office. So, it might be something for you to consider.
Yeah, I'm definitely considering it, but I still don't even know what I want to do after graduation. So I feel like I have to go one step at a time.
Do you have a job?
What do you mean?
Are you looking for employment?
Or? Yeah, I'm looking for an internship this summer. I'm a junior.
Oh, okay. But are you looking for, does that pay? Are you looking for something that pays?
Ideally, but I'm willing to take an unpaid internship just to get DC experience. If I'm working with a Republican congressman, I'd bite the bullet and take the unpaid internship just to get the experience, and I have enough in savings, thankfully, that I can do that.
Sounds good. And folks, thank you for listening to us. This is Joe. Welcome back anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And folks, welcome back to Liberty Action Network TV, CPAC 2014. This is Natalie.
Hi.
And welcome to the show, Natalie.
Thank you.
And can you tell us what brings you here today?
I came to CPAC today with a group of conservative students on our campus, and we just like coming here because we get to connect with other conservatives across the country, and it kind of validates our somewhat obsession with politics and current events.
And so have you watched any of the speakers here?
Yes. We watched Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan. We're about to see Chris Christie at 11:45. We're very excited for that.
I'm excited too I'm from New Jersey, and that's where Chris Christie is from.
Yeah.
Yes, he is Republican. Conservative, well,
Yeah.
you got to think a little bit about that one.
Oh yeah, you're very smart. I came with a college Republican, and he's actually from New Jersey. So he said you either love Chris Christie or you hate him. So.
Right. And so now you're here. Are you here for the 3 days?
Yes, we're here for all 3 days.
And do you think you have a favorite speaker yet?
Definitely Rand Paul is close to the top of my list. He's a great one. We all like him a lot.
I don't know. Is his dad speaking?
I don't think his dad is speaking here, no, unfortunately. But I did see his dad a few years ago at CPAC.
Now, tell us what you think about the current situation with the United States, how this country is. Where do you think we're going in the future?
Well, under Democratic leadership, it's definitely not going well. With Obamacare, very disastrous. I mean, we have, as college students, we're really worried about getting jobs after graduation, and I really feel like Obamacare is hurting the chances of a lot of my colleagues to get a job after they graduate. Definitely right now with all the things going on in Ukraine and Russia, I feel like Obama's put us in a position to be almost helpless. It just isn't making me very proud to be an American.
Do a lot of the students know what's going on in Ukraine?
I would say less students know about it than they should. I think as college students we're supposed to be politically active, and it's kind of disappointing to see people not knowing what's going on.
Now, let's also talk a little bit about Obamacare.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
One of my least favorites.
Right. This law is law. It's been law for quite a while now. And back in November, you saw a ton of people kicked off their insurance plan, and they try to go into the exchange. In your opinion, is this health care law good for us?
Definitely not. The healthcare law is the exact opposite of what should be doing. It doesn't address any of the major issues. My mom works at a hospital. She sees these issues on a first-hand basis all the time, and everyone at the hospital just hates it, and they're all very worried.
So now, do the students understand with Obamacare into play how this might slow economic growth?
I think that a lot of the conservative students are more aware of what this will do to the economy in terms of part-time jobs and rising costs of insurance and other things like that. But I don't think many of the students in support of Obamacare are aware of the economic impacts at all.
Okay, because here's what I know, okay? Everybody's going to have insurance, okay? And it's placing a toll upon the employer, okay?
Yep.
And, excuse me, and it's costing them more. And if it costs them more, their bottom line is affected. So therefore, they cannot go ahead and hire people.
Exactly.
Or they have to cut hours out.
Yep, exactly.
And I'm not so sure that people in general get that, not to mention students.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, you know, the other side of this is you want jobs.
Exactly.
Okay, so the belly is on the employer back, and it's constraining them. And so now we see the unemployment rate.
Yep.
Okay, yes, the government has it at, 7.9 the last time I looked. But you know what, I know what you do. Okay, the government doesn't include all of the people who went through their unemployment benefits. It doesn't include those who are working part-time.
Exactly.
So Finkel estimates unemployment rate to be about 15%.
Wow. Overall across the whole country?
Yes,
Wow.
overall.
That's absurd.
Now, where you guys are you guys able to find jobs?
North Carolina actually has a pretty high unemployment rate. We're higher than the national average. So it's difficult in the state. A lot of people I know are struggling even finding part-time work.
So let's say you get out of college and you're 22. Okay, yes, you're on your parents' health care until you're 26, but now you have a lot of people over 26 who are unemployment, and then they have to buy insurance.
Yep.
Wow. So what do you as a student now plan to do or try to help to alleviate the situation?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's much we as students can do other than raising awareness on our college campuses. So a lot of the conservative groups on my campus, we really try and bring in speakers. We brought in SC Cup to campus last week, and it was phenomenal. We just try to have debates with other organizations and bring out other students to hear about the other side. I'm not sure if, I wish there was more we could do.
Are you guys the most conservative group on your campus?
We are a nonpartisan group, and we are more libertarian leaning, and the views within our group ranges. So we have people that are more conservative libertarian all the way to anarchist. So we could be considered the most conservative group.
Right. But you don't have a college Republican group.
We do have a college Republicans, and they're here with us today too.
Okay, so, but then you have a lot of Democrat groups on your campus?
We have college Democrats, we have Students for Peace and Justice, the Politics Forum. I think, the Democratic organizations may slightly outnumber us.
That's not a surprise.
Yeah, I know. It's not easy on a college campus these days.
Now, have you guys also, being your conservative, what do you think of all your liberal professors?
Well, I actually had to change my major from political science to accounting because I was not getting good grades in my political science classes because my professors were so biased. I had a professor from Palestine who disagreed with everything that I wrote, said that capitalism was an atrocity, and would not give me the grades that I deserved on my work. So I ended up changing to the business school where most of the professors are conservative, thankfully. But I don't think that the liberal professors, I mean, they must feel a lot of cognitive dissonance trying to defend what they are saying and knowing how it's actually hurting us young people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so glad to see that you come today. Now
Yeah.
you see all the conservatives around here.
It's great. It's like I'm at home.
I'm sure you see all the TV networks too, right?
Yeah, there is a lot of media here.
So then, let's go back to CPAC. Okay. There's a lot of speakers coming up.
Yep.
Are you plan on watching every one of them?
Probably not every one of them. I'm, kind of like the headliners. I'm really excited to see Sarah Palin. I'm a big fan of Sarah Palin. She's a role model of mine.
I am too.
Yeah. I love her. I mean, she's smart, she's intelligent, and people are really surprised when they see a young woman like me defending her because they just assume no one really respects her. But there are a lot of people out there that
Yes, and there's a couple others. Ann Coulter will be here.
Oh yeah, Ann Coulter.
And a few others off the top. You guys plan on going partying tonight?
Partying, maybe not. We like to call it networking, where we're out with other people and we're mingling. So, I mean, I guess we can't be out too late because, we have to be here early in the morning.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
You got to get up the next morning.
At least I'm not one of those people that's going to be out too late. I'm sure a lot of other people will.
Right. So, folks, I want to thank Natalie for coming.
Thank you.
Enjoy your stay at CPAC.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today. And folks, we're here at CPAC 2014, and this is Justin. Welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you.
How you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
And what brings you to CPAC?
Just visiting. I've never been before, but I've heard it's an amazing experience, and so far it has been. So I'm really excited to see what the rest of the weekend holds.
So you're here for the 3 days?
Yes. Yep.
And let me ask you this: are you in a particular university or?
University of South Florida in Tampa.
And are you a member of the College Republicans?
I am.
You are?
Yes, I'm the political director of our club on USF, and then I'm the vice chair of the Florida Federation of College Republicans, which is a statewide board.
Wow. So you work with all the College Republicans in the state?
Yes. Yep.
And let's talk about Florida a little bit. You have Marco Rubio.
Yes.
What's your opinion on him?
I love him. I think he's a great guy. I think he articulates conservative principles so well. I remember when I first heard about him running against Charlie Crist, I thought, who is this guy? And he's turned out to be one of the best senators that we could have ever asked for.
That's good. And you think he'll be a presidential candidate in 2016?
I think he will. I think he'll definitely consider it. I think he has an appeal for a lot of people. Like I said, he articulates conservative principles so well, has that bottom-up story that I think is appealing to so many people.
Now let's talk about what's going on in the country. We'll start with Ukraine. What do you have to say? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's not good. I think what you've seen is, this is what happens when you have a weak president leading a country that used to be very well respected, and people don't respect Barack Obama. I don't think that that's something that is really, you can argue. They just released a new poll that Americans don't respect him, don't trust him. Americans think that the world doesn't trust him. And that was his big draw, was that the world will cooperate with him. The world will, bow down at the altar of Barack Obama, and it hasn't happened. And what we've seen is the opposite, that instead of gravitating towards Barack Obama, people feel that they can walk all over him, and it's a shame to see.
Well, that's true. But let's take a look at what he's doing domestically. Obamacare.
Yeah.
It's not one of our favorites. It is law, however. Do you think in 2016, if the Republicans take they have the House, but the Senate and the presidency, that they can somehow bring this back and override?
I hope so. I think Barack Obama's doing a pretty good job of delaying it by himself. Just give him a couple more years and it'll never happen.
Right.
I think, if we're able to delay it, which is what we wanted to do in the first place, until we could get a Republican president in there, hopefully it won't be so embedded into the system that we can, repeal it, because that was the goal, was to get it so ingrained, so embedded in the system that it would never,
that it would never matriculate. And back in November, we saw a lot of people lose their insurance.
Right.
And it's probably going to continue throughout this year. You notice the media doesn't cover that.
No. I think we can't really expect them to. It's not a surprise that they don't cover it. If we relied on the media,
news.
It is news. So is, IRS targeting, so is Benghazi. You can't really expect them to do it, but the fact of the matter is they can't ignore it. People are losing their health care. They can tell them all they want about Barack Obama, but they know they've lost their insurance. They've lost their doctor. So you can spin it all you want, but people still know that. I mean, you can't tell them that it's not because of Obamacare.
Right, and you mentioned another area I want to get into. It's called the IRS, and the Internal Reckless Service. That's the one that I've heard recently. And the targeting of conservative groups throughout the country. And we saw testimony from Lois Lerner the other day, who has said that she had gotten some emails to do certain things to various individuals. And you see these groups sending representatives to the hearing, and they're coming up and they're saying, we've had the FBI at our house, this, that, and the other thing. And it seems to be that the targeting still continues.
Yeah, and she's dodging, nobody's giving answers, which again is to be expected, but we really need to find out, how this is happening, and honestly I don't know how to stop it, because as we've seen, Barack Obama has no regard for the law.
No.
And so he's just going to do whatever he wants to do, which I think is unfortunate, but it's the way it will happen.
Right, and now these applications were going forth for C3 and C4 from the IRS, that's a tax exemption status. These people who have filed either are being delayed and then they're being harassed.
Yeah.
The FBI coming to your door, or the tobacco and firearms and that agency coming to your door.
Right.
What does that have to do with it?
Yeah.
So, and then people having to give up their tax returns from God knows when.
Yeah. It's such a shame to see that Barack Obama's using the IRS to target political enemies, and when he came in on hope and change, that this was going to be different. This wasn't going to be politics as usual. He was going to be, reliable and honest, and what we've seen is the exact opposite. And it's just such a shame.
Always say hope and change change for what?
Yeah, it did change. I'll give him that. It did change.
Right, but change to what?
Right.
And the other issue we have is immigration. It's an important issue because when you have immigrants coming across the border, particularly illegal, it affects your education system, your government, all your institutions, your health care, and yet people aren't grasping that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the unseen problem. I think people don't realize how much of an impact it has. You look at states like California, whose medical system has been just devastated with people because of the influx of immigrants who didn't have insurance. And it's not that conservatives aren't compassionate and understanding, but at a certain point, it can't continue, and we need to figure out how to fix this system because it's not working for anybody right now, and it's just
right. I mean, you have these people coming across the border, and especially then you also have ones who come across the border. They have a kid here,
right,
and then excuse me, that when your kid is born here, he or she is automatically an American
right.
citizen. So then what happens? Do you deport the kid? Because then you're going to separate the kid from the parent.
Sure.
Well, actually, you can't deport the kid, but do you deport the parent?
Right.
Then the kid's going to be here in your system. Who's going to take care of the kid?
Sure. I think there is no good option. I think what we'd have to do is look at a way. First of all, I don't support a pathway to citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you're here illegally, you've broken the law, and that while we'll work with you, I think we need to work with these people, that a pathway to citizenship isn't correct because it rewards the illegal behavior. It rewards the disregard for the law.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think we need to look and say, how can we get these people into the system? Because like you said, we can't deport them. Deportation of 12 million people isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to look at ways to bring them in, give them a pathway to legalization,
Mm-hmm.
but not a pathway to citizenship.
That's right. And so let me ask you my next question. Do you agree with what Senator Marco Rubio is doing?
Somewhat. I agree with parts of it. I think he joined on to a bill that was a bad bill. I think he realized that towards the end and said, this isn't what I had originally signed on for, that the Democrats had corrupted it so much from the original proposal that he ended up backing out of it. But, he is tackling the issue. I think it's a hard issue to face, but I think he's doing it. So I think, people appreciate him trying to work something out, even if it might not be perfect.
Right. And folks, thank you for watching us. This is CPAC 2014.